In the spirit of bipartisanship, let us talk about the healthcare summit. President Obama invited Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic leaders, and the Republican leaders to at least air out their issues with the healthcare reform. It's close to being passed, and the Republicans are still against this policy, and they want to scrap the whole thing and start from scratch again. After 1 year of all the town halls, all the debate, and all the back and forth, the Democratic Party is soured enough of the Republican ilk. They're deciding to go into reconciliation, which means it's going to be like a 51 or 52 majority vote, and the Republicans want this to be their trump card into the 2010 midterm elections. Right now, the Democrats are facing tougher elections because of the recent controversies with some of the state governors. The Democratic Party is being pressured by progressives and middle-of-the-road Democrats to not be so hasty in working with the Republicans. The conservative Democrats are going to probably sit it out. And President Barack Obama's approval rates are hovering between the 40s and the 50s. And it's all because of the gridlock that's being held on between the Republican leaders, which is Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, and the Democratic leaders, which is Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. It seems like our partisan gap has gotten so great. I've presented my videos time after time talking about issues. I'm for the public option. I'm for healthcare reform. I'm for ending the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm for President Obama. Earlier, I started off being kind of libertarian leaning because I was in favor of the congressman from Texas, Ron Paul. Some of his ideas suit the needs of younger voters, and many of the younger voters are supportive of Ron Paul. That's fine. But due to the fact that he's not as mainstream as those like the former governor Sarah Palin or the former governor Mitt Romney or even Senator John McCain, who ran in 2008, Ron Paul didn't get the recognition that he deserved. And I did contest some of the things. I criticized Fox News and CNN for trying to set up the congressman, and also promoted him and Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Ohio. Now, seeing that they were out of the picture, you wanted to go with the winners. President Barack Obama seems to be more likely trying to work with the Republicans. I know a lot of people who've been posting comments at the bottom think that he's not working hard enough with the Republicans. Oh, no. He's tried his best to try to work with the Republicans. And since I've seen the healthcare summit, I've seen a lot of theatrics from the Democrats who are calling the Republicans out for their hypocrisy, and the Republicans trying to say the Democrats are trying to bankrupt this country. Well, that's enough of that. I'm tired of all this nonsense. The first thing I want to ask all my critics, do you know who your representative is? Do you know who your senators are? Because I know a lot of these critics who've been posting comments at the bottom really don't know much about me personally, but they have the guts to post their comments at the bottom. Now, I want to be honest with you. Do you have insurance? I'm lucky to have insurance. Healthcare is really expensive, and thousands of people go bankrupt a day because of health insurance, because they have needs. And people like me who are relatively healthy don't go to the doctors. And down the line, it might be more possible that I may catch a disease, or I might have cancer, or I might have an injury. And when I go to the hospital, it's going to cost an arm and a leg, to put the phrase clearly. I don't understand why we got to be so negative against one another. I mean, I've been posting comments against people who have been attacking me constantly on YouTube, and it's kind of taking the thrill out of making videos talking about my community, about the government, and of course the corrupt mainstream media. I just want you to understand that we are all Americans, we all have different ideas, and we're trying to at least get things done. I voted for President Obama to at least give us healthcare reform, to end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, to mend the fences between the hyperpartisan right and the hyperpartisan left. I voted as an independent. I started off as a Democrat in the 1980s until present time, and then I tried to switch the sides to become a Republican, and then after I seen all the hypocrisy coming out of the Republicans, I voted as an independent. I attended the Tea Parties in Dayton. I attended many events from Senator John McCain to Congressman Ron Paul, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama. I've been all over the place. Now, there are people who are trying to discount all my achievements as something that's not worth it. That's fine. I don't care. I'm getting a little frustrated myself with some of the things that are going on YouTube, from the racism to the hypocrisy of people who say, well, President Obama is a socialist. He's not a socialist. You got to understand, he's not a socialist. You don't know nothing about socialism. Racism is one of the key reasons why President Obama is having a lot of flack from the Republican Party, the Tea Party movement, and those who are in the white supremacist circles, from the internet all the way to your open mouth racist. And I don't like to pull the race card, but I got to understand that most of these comments that are coming from people who are seriously uninformed, who probably don't have a college degree. And no, I'm not an elitist. But I'm going to tell you straight up, I want health care reform. And whatever the Democratic Party got to do, it's got to get done. We got a job market issue. We got 2 wars. What can be done? Healthcare has been dragging along for years. Now it's time to get it done. I want you to post your comments at the bottom. Try to be civil. And I do respond to the most extreme comments, so be prepared. I got my A game on. Well, no, I got my B game on. So don't try me.